On behalf of Kathy and Isabella and the entire Mastroianni and Randall families, thank you for choosing to be here today as we continue to offer our love and support to the very soon-to-be Reverend Kathy Mastroianni. And what a joy it is to be in this beautiful space. And as you all know, for any of us who know anything about Kathy, she has so much love for everyone, for everything, for every being on the planet, truly embodying what our founder Ernest Holmes said was looking for the golden thread in all of the world's traditions. And Kathy knows that, and she gets that, and she feels that at the core of her being. So that is why she has created this omni-denominational service in this amazing synagogue/center for spiritual living. That's why we have music from so many different paths, why you will hear readings from different traditions, because that is who Kathy is, honoring all paths, honoring all people, and honoring all traditions. So thank you for being here. And again, Kathy is doing her best to honor and acknowledge everyone who has supported her on her spiritual path. And beloved, what I know this day is every being here, everyone with it who can hear our voices, everyone who's viewing online is here in support of you, for all that you bring to the planet, for all that you have offered in all of our lives. And we just wanted to also acknowledge Kathy's beloved parents, June and Al. We're presencing them through the roses as they were both amazing rose growers, horticulturalists, lovers of nature. So we welcome them knowing that they are here with us in spirit, in love. And it is my joy and my honor to officially... Thank you. There we are, to introduce Tom, who's going to do a beautiful chant.
I think that was perfect because I didn't know what to say to welcome you. You welcomed me so beautifully. Thank you. Kathy's a very good friend, and I'm so happy that she invited us to sing a little bit together. Yom Namah Shivaya. The words are on the screen, and we'll sing each line twice. I'll sing it, and then you sing the same line with me the second time all together, and that way we learn it very, very fast. So here we go. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Shiva Namah. Now your turn. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Shiva. Shankara Namah Shivaya, Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya, Shiva Namah. Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya, Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya, Shiva. Om Namah
Thank you, Tom Furman, for sharing your beautiful gift of music and your consciousness. We're very grateful. And now switching hats slightly, on behalf of Centers for Spiritual Living, of which Foothills Center for Spiritual Living is one of our 400 churches and centers around the world. Welcome on behalf of Centers for Spiritual Living as well. And it gives me great joy and great pride to introduce truly our host for this evening, who has opened the doors to this community, to his beautiful temple, honoring us and allowing us to be present, Rabbi Jamie Arnold.
So Kathy and I go way back to when Kathy was devoted to sheltering those who are most in need, and inspired in some ways by her work, I took initiative with the emergency shelter program here in Evergreen, and it seems like you're doing the same work now, just at a deeper level. As we were talking before about this event and how I might welcome you and help set the stage for this occasion, a Jewish verse, a biblical verse from the book of Exodus came, and it's Ve'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. So God says to Moses, let them make a sanctuary for me, and then this is the important part of the verse, and I will dwell among them. You catch the switch of pronouns? Make a sanctuary for me, God says, and not I will dwell in the sanctuary, but if they make a sanctuary for me, I will dwell among them. So in the last decade or so, around the world, Jewish communities have been singing that verse using a shaker hymn, which seemed to translate it, and that seems ecumenical. I just want to also mention the synchronicity that happened. I came a little early, was going through some mail as I'm sitting in my office waiting for this event to take place, and I opened this letter from Rabbi Erwin Kulad in New York, who works internationally. He writes this: we are bombarded with news that is steeped in discord. As the internet makes our world smaller and allows us to instantly connect with people all over the globe, we must maintain and build new connections in our smaller communities. At this moment, it is more important than ever to try to reach across divides. It is through this deep pluralism we believe people and communities can access the partial truth of those who view the world differently than they do, while still retaining and strengthening their own identities and beliefs. And he writes about a training of seminarians, rabbis and cantors and clergy, and preparing for seeing both sides of the Israeli conflict, Israel-Palestinian conflict, and seem completely appropriate. But I would like you to help welcome us, right? We built the sanctuary. Maybe creating shelter is the easy part. Making of ourselves a sanctuary for the divine, where we can access that divine when we connect with one another. So it's tempting to, when we're chanting, to close our eyes and go inward. I want to invite us to open our eyes and sing this to one another. Right? Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, good and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Oh Lord, prepare
how so good it is to take the moment to get out of the way. To live that divine sanctuary within, to be that space where the divine gets to dwell within. And so I stand in this awareness, recognizing that each and every one of us in this moment that we call now is the sanctuary of the divine. Let them build a sanctuary and I will dwell with them. And so I recognize that in this moment, this divine presence that is known by so many names, be it God or Yahweh or Allah or Krishna or Buddha, whatever it is called, there is no name for the nameless one, but we call it forth into our conscious awareness, recognizing that it is at the very center of all of life. And while being at the very center of all of life, there is no circumference to it. Meaning that there is nothing, absolutely nothing that can, will, or does exist outside of that infinite intelligence that I call love, that I call God. For truly, in the beginning, God. It is the Alpha, it is the Omega, it is the all in between that. It is right where everything and everyone and every place is. Where there is no place where life, God is not. And so recognizing that God is everywhere present, I stand in this awareness boldly declaring that right where I am, God is. For I know that right where I am, that God reveals himself into and as the I am that I am. And as I know this to be the truth of my life, this is the absolute truth of each and every individualized expression of the divine in this sanctuary right here and right now. In this one divine, beautiful sanctuary are the microcosmic sanctuaries of God. You see, right where we are, God shows up. Right where we are, God is. And so it is from my awareness of our oneness in this thing that I call God that I speak this word, I declare it. I name, I claim, and I accept that it is perfection in action. And so I call this time good. As we get to celebrate the almost Reverend Kathy Mastroianni, that we get to come here and just be enlightened by her presence. We get to participate in her celebration with her and her daughter. So yeah, I call this time good, and I let it be so. So it is from a place of gratitude. It is from a place of joy. It is from a place of, deep, deep, humble love that I release this word, which is our life, into that perfect and dynamic action of love and law. See, I know that as this word is released into the law must lovingly return these words unto us completely fulfilled, simply because the word is the law unto itself. All it knows and ever will know is its own fulfillment. And so I release it, I let it go, I take my hands off of it, and I let God be God. And so it is. So it is.
Wow. And that is soon to be Reverend Eugene Holden. Oh wait, that was my out loud voice. So in this moment, as Kathy has been on this journey of planning her senior service, it's been my joy and honor to play an oh-so-small part in some of those conversations. And she said, David, how did, when you went through it, when you had yours, how did you help people understand it wasn't about how old I am, but rather about my academic or my spiritual journey? So Kathy has asked me to share what is a senior service. And before we do that, I would just like to honor and acknowledge all of Kathy's practitioner colleagues. Would you please stand and be recognized, our religious science practitioners? Thank you. And as well, if our fellow ministerial colleagues would also stand and be recognized for your support of Kathy and her path and her journey. So unscripted, the spirit is in the house, my love. So what is a senior service? Sit back, Relax. The concept of a senior service has been likened to a final exam for ministerial students. Graduating seniors from the School of Spiritual Leadership are asked to plan all of the elements of a service and deliver a talk, incorporating everything we have learned along the way and everything that we have explored during our course of study. While once a requirement, the senior service is now an optional activity. Holmes Institute is named after Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science. It is a program that trains people to become ministers by exploring 6 main areas of study: education, leadership, philosophy, psychology, religion, and science and spirituality. The goals of Holmes Institute School of Consciousness Studies include foster consciousness development, inspire spiritual leadership, nurture self-reliance, and teach global responsibility. And here is a quote that we all signed up for in one form or another when we started ministerial school. Religious science ministers are expected to be conversant with a wide variety of topics. They must, of course, be well versed in the principles and beliefs of religious science and the metaphysical philosophers who preceded it. And they are also expected to have a degree of expertise in Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, Sufi, Taoism, Kabbalah, classical philosophy, and cosmology. They need to be well educated in Christianity in all its manifestations and are expected to be Bible scholars. Ministers must also be aware of humanistic psychology, learning theory, and the latest scientific thinking that relates to spirituality. Additionally, a minister is also the manager in a spiritual organization. This means that there must be a background in financial management, leadership styles and concepts, administration, organization, and ecclesiastical craftsmanship. And that's the introduction, Holmes Institute School of Consciousness Studies, Catalog, Policies, and Procedures. Yeah. So now just a bit about the process and Kathy's journey and where she's at in that journey. Once candidates successfully complete 96 hours of coursework, a minimum of 12 internships, and 10 comprehensive written exams. Kathy's exams start April 17th. Thank you for your ongoing prayers. They graduate from this fully accredited program with a master's degree in consciousness studies. They then participate in an oral panel with 3 ordained ministers. For Kathy, this will be either August 7th or August 8th. Upon the successful completion of that panel, one becomes a licensed minister. The protocol for a minister with Centers for Spiritual Living is to gain a letter of call or an employment contract with the sponsoring organization to initiate the licentiate period for a minimum of 3 years. At that point, the minister is eligible for ordination, which is a lifetime appointment. Go, Kathy.
Something's coming, little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Feels like I'm walking on my own. Can't see the end beneath my feet. Everybody say something's coming me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's coming me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, compassion's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. My faith keeps calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. God is calling me, and I'm grateful like I've never been before.
of you who don't know me, I'm Mastroianni, Kathy's daughter, and I just want to start by saying how proud I am of my mom. This has been such a big achievement for her, and it's really exciting that it's all coming down to the end, and we're so close. So today I am doing the reading, and it is entitled Peace Be Unto Thee, Stranger, by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Peace be unto thee, stranger, enter and be not afraid. I have left the gate open, and thou art welcome to my home. There is room in my house for all. I have swept the hearth and lighted the fire. The room is warm and cheerful, and you will find comfort and rest with it. The table is laid, and the fruits of life are spread before thee. The wine is here also, it sparkles in the light. I have set a chair for you where the sunbeams dance through the shade. Sit and rest and refresh your soul. Eat of the fruit and drink the wine. All is yours, and you are welcome.
Jokes, keep it back on.
As Jeff gets ready.
This is the sound of the Lord. One spirit, one voice. The sound of one makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices two. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices two. This is the sound of voices two. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the history. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the way that you trust, the leaf behind the bird to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. People one voice, sung for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one
Isn't that amazing? Just thank you everyone who has already spoken, who has shared their hearts for this service. This really is my fantasy service, and so I'm so grateful that I get to share it with all of you. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to start with some acknowledgments. And we are going to start with some folks that really couldn't be here today. And we're probably all happy that they're not here today, but they are here in our hearts. Because really, this ministerial journey, as David so beautifully shared, you know, it's a lot of time. You know, I'm working a full-time job at the archives. I'm in school full-time. You know, some of those days are really long, and these critters are the ones that really have supported me along this journey. And so I really wanted to bring my critters in. You know, Shiva, we've already chanted to Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya. That's my inner dog all the time. And you know, and my Dolce, which means sweetie in Italian. And he really is a sweetie. And I guess I will share this story. So, for a lot of our classes, we're on Zoom. So we're on these computers. And so you have a camera staring at you for hours on end, and you keep a kind of a neutral face. Except when you look over and your kitty's projectile vomiting across the, not once, but like a year to the day, thanks to Facebook memory. Impressive and like that. And so I called it an excellent use of a mute button. And so I did. And so we will tell on Tara too. Oh, that's right. So my kitty Tara, she's this little fluff butt, you know, and I call it doing the catwalk. And so she'll like do a catwalk across the computer screen. People love it, they chat with you and stuff. But she doesn't like people's voices. And so she'll attack the computer. Like she's biting on my computer. I mean, class, for God's sake. You know, for God's sake, literally. And she's biting at the computer. And I take her and I put her down. And the third time, I usually put her in Isabella's room and she has to hang with her for the rest of my life. But anyway, thank you to my critters. And I did start with my critters. I just wanted to do some brief acknowledgments because truly, each and every one of you here, you know, you have touched my hearts. I've touched your heart, or else you wouldn't be here. And I do want to say hi to my Facebook friends. We're doing the Facebook Live right now. Because honestly, you know, every last woo-hoo, everyone's right there with a woo-hoo back, you know. So I so appreciate my Facebook friends, and a lot of them are here today too. So it's very cool. And I want to start with my daughter Isabella. You know, God bless her. What a journey we've been on. You know, I realized it was 12 years ago I found this beloved teaching, 12 years ago. And here, ministerial school has been the last 4 years. And Isabella has been in school for 12 years, and she's, the last 4 years, been in high school. She's graduating a week before me. So we're both graduating together. So it's just kind of sacred, synchronistic time to come together this way. And my sister Carol, I know she's watching the Facebook land, so God bless you, my sister. What a journey we've been on, and I'm going to share a bit of it today. And we've just been there for each other. And I'm so grateful for you, my sister. I do want to, and it was funny because we were looking at the program, and Isabella took a glance, and she did see Steve Burton with Center for Spiritual Living's name. She goes, well, shouldn't Judy be on there? I go, she is. She's right under Ernest Holmes. I thought it gave her some pretty good billing. And so, thank you so much, Reverend Judy Morley, because this beautiful community has been here for me when I started. I mean, I was here day one when it opened 3 years ago, and I've been able to do internships. I've been able to speak up here. This was my first speaking gig, is here at Foothills with my beloved Jeff King as my songman twice. Yeah. So and this community, I mean, it's a sangha. It's a spiritual community where we come together to learn and grow and pray. So I'm so grateful for this sweet community, Foothills. And also, my senior service team. I have the most phenomenal team that orchestrated this event. And I want to invite Sandra Ray, Jeff King, Sherry Jensen, and Steve Smith to stand up so we can acknowledge and thank them. Prac makes forever. I mean, y'all have your Prac group. I mean, you're forever connected, and I'm just so grateful for my Prac mates. And just everyone who's been a part of this service. I called Sandra. Sandra, I could spend an hour just thanking people. They all know you love them, and they love you too. So, thank you. Well, gosh, I think it's time to get this party rolling. Alrighty, so my talk topic today is peace. It is ours to do. Peace. It is ours to do. And like I started to share, I'm going to share a bit about my personal journey, and what brought me to this incredible place today. And I think a lot of times we have to see what we don't want, or experience more exactly what we don't want to find out what we do want. And so I have experienced a lot of not peace in my life. And I know I have a story that I'm going to tell. And I know each one here, we all have a story. We all have things that have unfolded in our lives. And I have I think it's more than a theory. I think we have one of two things we can do with our stories. We can either use them as reasons that hold us back. I can't do this in the world because of my story. We can use it as, I don't like the word excuses, it's kind of harsh, but we can use it as reasons. I can't move forward because of it. Or we can use our stories as inspiration. We can turn those stories around and make them really powerful. And we can use them and say, wow, this is why I can do things. This is why I go forward in the world and do the things I do. And so that is my choice for my story. And I invite you with all your stories to look at them and to look how they're playing in your lives. What you would like to do with them. It's just a very powerful thing to do. So a lot of you have heard my story, and I can already hear my ministerial school folks going, oh, there she goes again. But that's okay. Okay, very kind. You're very kind. So I call this the signature story of your life, So growing up, my parents were in a domestic violence relationship. It was not a healthy relationship. And when I was 6 years old, it was literally 4 days after my 6th birthday, my mother made a choice, and she committed suicide. And my sister is 5 years older, so she's 11. So I'm 6, she's 11, and we were raised by our father. And so I have a lot of compassion for single dads and what they go through in the world. And so our father, he was abusive to my sister. And I was one of those kids that would hide, and just like, no, not me, I'm a good girl, not me. And so he passed on. He died of a heart attack when I was 14 and my sister was 19. And it was just one of those amazing years, because it was January 2nd that he passed on, 1981. Someone in the audience might know this year. And there is 7 huge major deaths in that for us. It was grandmas, aunts, uncles, best friends, mothers, neighbors. I mean, it was just a heck of a year. And no one ever talked to us about death. No one ever talked to us about what you do with those feelings. And so even a year later, I was 16 years old, I decided what you do is you relive your father's death. Made sense to me. So here's like, oh, is this when he had his first heart attack? This is when he goes into the hospital. And so he died January 2nd. It was New Year's Eve. And it was lovely. My boyfriend decided to break up with me that night, too. Well, it didn't really matter because I'm going through reliving my father's passing. And so what did I decide to do? I decided to attempt suicide. I knew where some pills were in the house. I got a bottle of vodka, and I downed these pills. And I remember after doing that going, I wonder if I really wanted to do that. And it's New Year's Eve. And so here I'm calling around to people, and there's no one around, except perhaps my friend Tricia. And you are here today, so. I'm in Michigan. She's in like North Carolina. And bless her heart, she called her Uncle Larry, who was a psychotherapist, called 911. They got an ambulance, got me to the hospital, pumped my stomach. Don't recommend that to anyone. But you know, those points of crisis in our lives, those points of crisis, I love the Chinese symbol for crisis, because it also means opportunity. There's the opportunity I need to get help, and to see a therapist, and to see a counselor, and start sharing all these scary, scary feelings and thoughts that were in my heart and my head, to find out they were actually pretty much normal. After all that, really, you know, they're pretty much normal. And to get help. And so it was just very empowering. And I remember those kids, all of us, boy, if there's only someone out there to support children, to help them with the grief process, to give them the tools they needed, you know, to help anyone. And so I did. I went to college. I got a bachelor's in psychology. I love psychology, so that's why I love Silence of Mind. And I worked in residential treatment with emotionally impaired kids. I was a foster care case manager in North Central Detroit, not for wimps either. And then we moved out to Colorado. You know, it was just like, no, we need to help folks. You know, we need to be there. You know, we're one human family, and we need to give people that support that they need in this life. And then coming out here, so I've been here in our mountain community 24 years now. And that's the other reason why it's so special to be here tonight and to do the senior service here at Foothills. This is my home, this is my community, and I'm so grateful that I've been able for 20 years as a family advocate at the local resource center, and then I had that huge honor of running a domestic violence shelter for 10 years. 24-hour crisis hotline, shelter that could have saved my mom. And so again, using our stories that we can move forward and make the world a better place. So I really think it's experiencing what is not peace, to say, wow, what do I want? I want peace. And I want to share it with the world. And that's why I love these songs that we've chosen. I can't wait for the next one. I'll get you all excited. It's about the one voice and the one song, and then all our voices coming together for something more powerful and making a difference in our world. And so I would like to talk a bit about peace right now. And I think I'm going to back up a minute because I think I missed a slide. But so I just pretend, play with me right now. I wonder what Ernest Holmes would have to say about
there is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it.
That's perfect. So this is the coolest thing in the world, is I discovered there's a power greater, power for good. There's a power for good in the universe. It's greater than we are, and we get to use it. And so that's when I found Science of Mind. It was just so life-changingly powerful. I went through like the normal therapies. It helped. This is what changed my life. This is what changed my life. And these spiritual tools, they're practical. We can use them wherever we are. We can use them for ourselves. So whenever we feel alone, we know we're not alone. We can go within and find that God essence within us, that power within us, and use these wonderful tools to change our lives. And kirtan and chanting is the other one that changed my life. It was my form of meditation, and I love it. Chanting, it just touches my soul. Bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion. And so that's why I really wanted to bring it to you and just share it with you. That's the thing, we're all unique individuals. What works for one may not work for someone else. But try it, see if you like it. You know, it'll be fun. So let's talk about peace. What is peace? Does anyone here want peace on earth? Any takers? Nice, you're my peeps. I love that. Peace on earth. So I want to do just at least a short meditation to go within, to get kind of some, what is peace? And that's the beauty. Folks who are here for the early meditation got a little preview. And so grateful for Doreen and that beautiful essence of peace. So if you're comfortable, this is everything, there's options. You know, just take a moment and go within. Just close your eyes. I invite you to breathe in peace and breathe out peace. And we're going to gently move our awareness from our heads to our hearts. So kind of going to that heart space and sensing and feeling peace. And just imagine every beat of your heart is beating that essence of peace. So I invite you to ask yourself, what is peace? What does it, so we're right here, right now, which is the only moment that there is peace on earth. Right now is peace on earth. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What do people say to each other when there's peace on earth? How are people acting? How do you feel? I think that's almost the most important thing is how do you feel? There's peace on earth right now. And now, I invite you to put your hands in front of you like you're holding like a ball. They're on the outside. You have a ball in between it. And you're lovingly holding it. And that's Mother Earth. And so I invite you to hold Mother Earth with the energy of your hands. And from the energy of your hands, I invite you to share peace and love. Energetically. Peace on earth. Sending that peace, love, energy, that love energy to Mother Earth. How good that feels. And then I invite you to let your hands open upward. Cosmic peace. Let's just send that beautiful, loving energy of peace into the cosmos, the solar systems, all the planets. Knowing that they are surrounding us and their energy fields impact our Mother Earth and each and every one of us. And now just gently and lovingly, just come back into your bodies, taking a little deeper breath, feeling yourself in your chairs, your feet on the floor if they reach. And just, when you're ready, just open your eyes. So how was that? What does peace on earth feel like? Pretty cool. Is there anyone that would like to share? Just a couple sharings. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What is this peace on earth?
Loving.
Loving?
Happiness.
Happiness.
Restful.
Restful.
Light.
Light. Ed?
Dynamic.
Over there, that mountain?
Joyful.
Joyful. So isn't that beautiful? Again, the only time we have now. So I just invite you to take that into your meditation practice, that didn't take that long. All of us, we can energetically reveal this peace on earth right now. And if you don't have a spiritual practice, this could be it, you know? It's the one voice, all our voices coming together, revealing peace. It's pretty cool. So now I'd like to share, let's shift to revealing peace. So what is mine to do? So I say peace, it is ours to do. And so that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm stepping into the ministry, is revealing peace on earth. Now I'm serious. I'm excited. And so let's see, why don't you go through a few slides, Tim, and see where we are. Oh, there you go. I love this one. This is Ernest Holmes. He says, "Let there be immediate peace on earth through the power of the Spirit of the living God." So that's another reason I love Ernest Holmes. He's a pretty cool dude. Peace on earth. And actually, before I go much further, I love Millie Forsberg to come up and do a beautiful reading on peace. It's Ernest Holmes' Prayer for Universal Peace.
Prayer for Universal Peace by Ernest Holmes. A universal prayer for the good of all mankind, to bring peace to our hearts, to our homes, to our minds, and to our souls, from today to eternity. So please just take a moment, close your eyes, and listen to the words of this prayer by our founder. Infinite Spirit, bring peace and goodwill to all peoples. Direct the pathway of every nation into unity, happiness, and prosperity. Remove the thought of fear and greed from the mind of man. Let every thought of hate be turned to love. Every thought of fear be turned to faith. Every thought of doubt be turned to certainty. Every thought of war be turned to peace. Heal the wounds of the world and bring peace upon the face of the earth. And so it is.
And if you'd like that prayer, I bet you might be able to find it on the Science Mind Archives website. This one might be free. Again, that's another huge blessing in my life. I mean, I have like 24-hour Ernest. I work at the archives, I work Ernest, I go to school Ernest all the time. I'm all the time. And I love Hazel too, so it's all good. His wife. So I invite you to share your vision of peace. I am starting a peace book as of tonight. It's Visions of Peace. And it's really our collective visions that are going to reveal that here in our lifetime in our world. It's a purple book, right? What came to your heart in there? And I'm going to be carrying it around wherever I go. We're just going to keep adding our collective visions of peace to it. So thank you for your part. Then, Peace by Facebook. Anyone here my Facebook friend? Well done. Well done. I believe peace on earth by Facebook. I do. If I can make one person laugh, one person smile, inspire someone, they say there's 10% of the world is on Facebook right now. How cool is that? And the coolest thing is all you have to do is you find a post that touches your heart and you share it. Just click that share button. And then all of a sudden, at last count 1,822 friends, you're sharing it with your friends. Oh, I know. And, it's just pretty darn cool. And so I really hope, I'm going to take this pretty seriously, Peace by Facebook. It's kind of fun. And so there's so many inspiring stories, and we're going to see if today is going to talk to us today. He's one of them.
Think good things, speak kind words, and do good things. Namaste. My name is Tabay Atkins. I'm 11 years old and I'm the youngest certified yoga instructor in America. When I first learned about yoga after my mom beat cancer, I thought that if yoga is helping my mom heal, then if I spread yoga, it'll help others heal. All of my students, they really like doing yoga with me, and it's also benefiting them at the same time to help heal the mind, body, and soul. They always come back for more and they really like it. All my yoga classes are donation-based, and I donate 100% of the money to kids who
spark within them. And then if you find that one story, wow, I could do that. I could do that. Then we can bring it out to the world. And so that's don't tell anyone, that's the secret behind me sharing all these posts on Facebook. And then I realized I have to do a bunch more. I have so many local heroes and heroes that I know. I am so blessed to know so many people that are actually here in this room right now that are doing amazing things in the world. And one of my posts, the first sort of post, isn't that funny? That was funny. I got my own jokes, but that's okay. You talk in post language when you're in Facebook land, that's all. Is political. And I don't, we're supposed to be not political stuff, but to me, sometimes politics can feel so overwhelming. We can feel like a victim. We can feel like all this big stuff's happening out there. What can I do? What is mine to do? Is there something I can do? So the first person I want to share about is Lisa Gutter with Cutter for Colorado. Bless her heart. She is running, she's on the ballot running for Colorado State House District 25, which is unincorporated western Jefferson County, it just happens to include this mountain community. And I love what Lisa says about running for office. She says, I have always worked to be part of the solution. I've always worked to be part of the solution. So that's the big reason I'm sharing this. And if you want to learn more, Lisa is here, and I invite you to learn more. I think that's a huge part with the politics, is just to educate ourselves. I'm not like, but how wonderful. I'm so grateful for you stepping up for that. Oh, and she's a mile higher too, so I think that's kind of some cool consciousness in the government. Just saying. All right, and the next slide is my friend Ed Burke from Bailey, Colorado. I was going to say everyone can be an Ed, but actually only Ed can be Ed. And so he is here, and Ed is so special. He's retired, and all he does is go around and help people. How can I help you? How can I help you? I mean, he's everywhere at once in the community. And even before you know you need help, if I posted it on Facebook, Ed shows up. And so he's like plastering the ceiling or, whatever I need. I'm just so grateful for Ed. And again, he's helping everyone in our community. We can all be like Ed. Not Ed, we can't be Ed, he's Ed. But we can all be like Ed and go out and just hear someone. They need help. How can I help you? We can do this. This is easy. What else do we have? Oh, Eamon is starting, or he's already started, the mensministry.org. The mission is empowering men in their greatness. Doesn't our world need that now? Just healthy masculinity, promoting that. And Eamon has this great, amazing vision of, he's the hub to help Centers for Spiritual Living and New Thought centers around the world have positive men groups. Positive groups to support men on this spiritual journey. I just think it's so special. And I had the honor of previewing his book called The Blessing Circle. It's a beautiful book. It's just a heart-centered book. It's a guidebook of how to create this. So I'm so grateful for Eamon and his amazing heart and what he's doing in the world. And I've decided this is mine to do. So I've joined his board of directors. And because helping men in our world, how can we support them? So thank you. And then Deanne Durbin, practitioner. She's part of Freedom to Choose project and also supports the inmate ministry through Centers for Spiritual Living. I love how Deanne says she supports divine beings having an inmate experience. Divine beings having an inmate experience. And I, from running a shelter for a long time, think, wow, captive audience. Spiritual principles. Go, you betcha. So I think that's mine to do too. Seriously, guys. So so ask yourself, what is yours to do? What is mine to do in this world? And so you have your opportunity. What strikes your heart? And I have to acknowledge that sometimes we're in a place in life where we have to put the oxygen mask over ourselves first. So if you need to take care of yourself, get support. I can't say enough about working with a practitioner. It's really life-changing. Take care of yourself. And by doing that, And then you get energized, and then you can have more to give to the world. I wonder what his name is. I should know these things. So, to sum up, to honor and bless the journey, imagine and be peace, and be inspired by what is yours to do. What is yours to do? And Kevin Rubel isn't here for me to say, let's wrap this up. We can do it anyway. All right, let us pray. Oh, hallelujah. First. Woo-hoo. So grateful. Oh my God, so grateful for this moment that I have dreamed of my whole life. And I didn't even know it. So grateful for the amazing people who are here today. Overflowing bounty of gratitude. Knowing peace on earth. Peace, it is ours to do. It is ours to do. And to know that how wonderful it is, that there is a power for good in the universe, greater than we are, and we get to use it. We're not alone. We're never alone. And we have each other. And just knowing that I am one with this divine power, that each and every beautiful being here, virtually or in person, is absolutely one with this beautiful divine spirit. I just know that this day is blessed, that this service is blessed, that peace on earth is activated right now. And that I know through our power of prayer and our power of positive intention, that as we move forward in our worlds, that we move to that place of consciousness, that place of awareness, that place of awakening. And as awakened beings, we see more, we hear more, we notice more, and we notice our stories and what we're doing with them. We can make conscious choices to use our stories in a positive way to reveal even more peace in the world, in our own lives and in the world. I know that each person here has a divine spark, and that spark is ignited. It is on fire. It finds that perfect thing that brings them to life, that brings them to joy, and that in that, the world is on fire. We are lifting up the world as a whole when we find that divine purpose, that divine love, that divine light, that divine peace. And I just know, the core of my beingness, that peace on earth is revealed right now. Peace on earth. It is the truth. It is the truth of the world. It's my truth. It's each and every person's here truth. Online, virtually, around the world. Peace on earth. I just affirm it and know it right now. And I just, with great gratitude, overwhelming gratitude, so much gratitude, I could just stand here and say gratitude a lot, because this is really fun. Because I'm here surrounded by my peeps, by these amazing beings who I love. I love each and every soul here. So I'm overwhelmed with gratitude and love. And I just release these words, these fertile words, are into that fertile soil known as the law. Knowing that that law is happy dancing with these words and bringing it back in fulfilled ways beyond our expectations. We let God dance with this prayer, revealing peace on earth right now. We just let it be and anchor it together by saying, and so it is. Amen. Congregations at Evergreen, our host, as well as Foothills Center for Spiritual Living. And the rest helps pay for our lovely musicians and our evening. And the rest of it goes to Centers for School of Spiritual Leadership. I love it, Jennifer said it. It goes to the School of Spiritual Leadership to support more ministerial students along this journey. cool is that? I think it's pretty cool. So now, we're going to have one of my favorite songs in the world. I told you, the fantasy service. Jeff and the gang are singing for us, so enjoy. Oh, wait. Sorry. I could do that. Very awesome. So we have something very fun. And we're going to, this affirmation probably should have been earlier. Let's just say it now real good. I am the peace I see in the world. Okay.
I am the peace I see in the world.
Two more times.
I am the peace I see in the world. I am the peace I see in the world.
And so we have bracelets for everyone. I don't know if it on Chris's cast, but will work on that. You might get her other arm. And so this is a gift to you. And so as you're giving, we're going to circulate this. We're giving and receiving with this offering. So enjoy and enjoy the music. Thank you so much. So you can see together we're going to do our benediction and our peace song, and we're doing something a little different. In case you haven't noticed, we're just going to do things a little different. So we're going to sing "Let There Be Peace on Earth," and then afterwards it's going to flow into Tom Furman and Little Rishikesh Kirtan, singing Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu. And it's up on the screen, or will be. And it means, let all beings be free. Let all beings be light and love. And let all beings be peaceful. Peace song. No, lines. Stay in lines, Foothills people. And there's another spiritual practice we're about to partake in. We've been very patient. Join us all for chocolate communion. Namaste.